Hello, creators, and welcome to Rediscovering Be Something Wonderful, where timeless truths don't just inspire you, they liberate you. Today, we're reopening one of the most mind-bending truths ever shared within these video archives. The revelation that wealth doesn't come from effort and money doesn't come from movement. It comes from I am, your own consciousness, the only true cause and source of everything you call reality. You've been told that action creates results, that hard work builds wealth, that success demands struggle. But Neville Goddard revealed the truth. Creation is finished. We will not have to lift a finger to make it so, for it is already so. It was always so. When you stop chasing and start assuming, the entire field of reality begins moving through you as you. Not because you're doing, but because you're being. You don't lift a finger. Reality lifts itself to meet you. Money manifests because you have already become the consciousness of wealth itself. So if you've ever wondered how to create insane wealth without the grind, the hustle, or the constant effort, this is your moment to remember. Money moves when you don't. Because reality isn't responding to your effort, it's reflecting your identity. Now, let's open the vault and revisit this timeless transmission, a reminder that your imagination, not your effort, is what creates worlds. Welcome back to Be Something Wonderful. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. I got a big video for you today. This was the story of one of you, a creator, who said that he was living on couches of his friends, didn't have enough money to get his own place, was going from job to job, didn't have really any savings, just a few $100s at a time in his bank account. And he said, no matter how much I visualized, how much I imagined myself wealthy, I was hurting and constantly being reminded that it's a struggle. Constantly being reminded that I'm not good enough, smart enough, educated enough, lucky enough, working enough, qualified enough, or trying enough to imagine this new life. Hear this, even the idea of when he was imagining his wish fulfilled, he believed that he needed to try harder, do more. And he said there was some movement in success, imagining the future event, or imagining that imagined end where he was wealthy, where he did have money. That I am now enough to create that insane wealth. It was always coming from the idea that he had to move from this identity. He had to improve or fix this identity that wasn't good enough. So he would take courses, or he would search another job, or he would work on trying to get more qualifications. But it never feeling like enough, right? And then he said he discovered Be Something Wonderful in Neville Goddard's teachings about imagining in a state akin to sleep, about assuming that you're already that person you desire to be. He goes, after trying it all, right? I discovered Be Something Wonderful in Neville Goddard's teaching after trying it all. With moments of manifesting money to pay rent or get by, he eventually moved from his friends' couches to a small apartment. But he said the tipping point was this. I want to share this with you. The tipping point for him was the realization that I was remembering myself in my life wrong. And therefore, I was wrong about everything. Do you see it that he was cut? And it even is here in his comment that I was constantly being reminded that it's a struggle. He was trying to improve that current reality, trying to improve that current identity, versus moving to the identity that's already wealthy, to the reality where he already made it, to the identity that it wasn't about education or being lucky or working or being qualified enough. It's about identifying as that person and being that person that for whom and through whom that reality is already real. This is powerful. So that's why he felt this idea that there was some movement, some improvements in his situation, some improvements in his identity or reality. But always the idea that it's not good enough, I'm not good enough, that it's still a struggle. Instead, he decided, he pointed some videos that we've talked about on the channel, that I remembered it wrong, that if you're not imagining yourself as already being that person you desire to be, already being in that reality, for whom and through whom that wealth is already real, then you're imagining it or remembering it wrong. Because all possibilities exist, all images, remember, you're always remembering who you are. He was just remembering some identity that he needed to fix, that he needed to get, that needed to feel good enough to be that wealth. I want to show this today. So he goes, I was trying to visualize a future where I'm no longer not good enough. Hear this. I was trying to visualize a future where I'm no longer not good enough. In other words, I was trying to visualize a future where I went from not good enough to being good enough, to improving that identity. But you don't change any script or any reality or any identity. You move to the identity or reality where you've always been good enough. That's what he was saying here. I was trying to visualize a future where I'm no longer not good enough. In other words, trying to change the script or the identity and reality of not good enough, not smart enough, not rich enough, not working enough. That possibility exists, but that's one infinite identity or reality or image or memory of who you are. But all memories exist. Remember what memory is. It's a mental image. So you're always remembering or imagining yourself in some identity or some reality. They all exist, all possibilities. All images, all scripts, all identities, all realities, or mental images, or potential exist. Stop trying to change any one image or memory and create a new memory that already exists. He really loved the videos that we did on I Remembered It Wrong, on the movie Solaris, with that character Chris Kelvin in the remake in 2002, I believe, right, with George Clooney, where towards the end of the movie, he's back to Earth, right? And he's saying that I was haunted by the idea that I remembered her wrong. He was remembering his wife who died by suicide and all the problems they had. He's remembering things. Remember, when we're not remembering reality as we would like it to be, we're not remembering ourselves as we would like to be, we're remembering it wrong, because a memory is just an imaginal act. It's just an image. You exist in all possibilities, all memories, all images, all realities. And so stop trying to change any one image or any one memory and decide who you are. This is what he says. Once I remembered that version of me that's always been enough, hear this, always been rich, always been successful, while allowing that not good enough version of me or versions of me to exist, the struggle ended. It was easy. He says, I didn't lift a finger. What happened is he had a small inheritance, right, that him and his sisters shared, right? That small inheritance, and then a friend of his who has been talking to him about investing in apartment buildings for a long time now, a couple years now, has been talking to him. He never felt that, that's what he wanted to do, or that he had money to do it, or that he believed in himself, decided to do it. And now he's experiencing the wealth that he always wanted, right? From that series of events, right? It's from him ending the struggle, right? He didn't lift a finger. That's why Neville Goddard says, we will not have to lift a finger and make it so, for it already is so. It was always so. I like what Neville Goddard's saying here. In other words, that memory or mental image of that specific identity or reality where you've always been wealthy has always been so. To think that you've got to do something to make it happen with more education or more working harder, those are all concessions to the experience, to the physical experience. That reality already exists. And you can move to that when you remember it righteously, when you remember yourself as you would like to be, not as you appear to be, not in realities that are not your preference, right? Your imaginal scene of you living in the end of your ideal life and identity is a memory of what is already so. This is big. Your imaginal scene, your visualization, your assumption that you're already that person you desire to be, in his case, wealthy and living that and feeling the freedom of having money flowing to him and through him, as source, is already so. You don't have to lift a finger. That's what Neville Goddard meant. It doesn't mean you're not going to do things. It's not about what you do or don't do, or the actions that you take or don't take. It's about being that identity for whom and through whom that reality is real. It's about remembering that identity, remembering that you're all identities, that you're all possibilities, and then choosing that identity of your preference. And it's a powerful idea that he goes, what really resonated with me is making my imaginal scene a memory. Because he talked about a video where I talk about that we believe in what we remember. We believe in our past, right? We believe there's a past to remember. And we believe that's the truth of reality. But really, it's just one possible memory, one possibility of who you are right now. You can remember anything. And that really resonated with him. He said, when I moved to the idea that wealthy me already exists, it's already a memory of a reality that already exists, already a memory of an identity that exists here and now, that I can remember it the way I want it to be, and that it must be. This is what happened. And I love this quote from Neville Goddard. We really talked about that idea of not lifting a finger. Since he said that, those were his words. We will not have to lift a finger to make it so, for it already is so. It was always so. Wow. Right? It's always so. Your imaginal scene of who you desire to be, living in that end of your life and your identity, is a memory of what is already so. It's already there. It's not in the future. Right? Remember, the past, present, and future, they're all memories that you can remember now. It all exists now. Creation's finished means it all exists, it's all possible identities, realities, images of you exist now as mental images, or in other words, as memories. This is powerful. So, the idea, here, this is some of the things he was talking about. The idea that I was remembering myself and my life wrong created an overwhelming sensation of love and gratitude for all versions of me. Wow. Hear the realization. He moved to this realization that I was just remembering it wrong. And like that character in the movie Solaris says, and somehow I was wrong about everything. That when you remember yourself and your life and others wrong, you're wrong about everything. And there's an overwhelming sensation then that he felt of love and gratitude for all versions. Because now he's creating the memory of his ideal, of who he really is, who he really wants to be, right? That highest ideal of always being wealthy. That's powerful. Remembering it wrong is the assumption that you are limited, that you are separate, and that you are separate, and that you are one of these experiences or one of these identities. You're not any one identity or any one experience or any one memory or any one image. You're all memories. You're all images. You're all possibilities. One superimposed over another. that you're the totality, the multidimensional being that's all of those things, then seeing yourself or experiencing yourself through some vantage point or viewpoint or perspective in a physical, horizontal, linear experience that we call 3D reality, a projection or reflection. But it's the totality of who you are, as opposed to that's who you are, and I must improve that or fix it or do something about that. You are all that is, the totality of all possible images, versions, or realities. Remembering how you would like yourself in life to be as that multidimensional spirit. That's powerful. Every image, every experience, every identity, every reality is the expression of the absolute fulfillment of who you already are. Remember, you're absolutely fulfilled. You're the superimposed version of all of those memories, all of those mental images, all of those identities. So every image or experience is an expression of that absolute fulfillment that you are, that multidimensional being that you are. The memory creates the conviction of wish fulfilled. Likewise, imagining creates the memory of wish fulfilled. Do you see? When you're imagining yourself as you would like to be, you're creating that memory. And what we remember, we believe, right? We're aware of. So everything's a memory. That's powerful. So when you imagine your wish fulfilled and your desired end, you're remembering that identity and reality where you have always been insanely wealthy and successful. Wow. You're creating that memory that already exists. But you're saying, this is who I am. This is who I remember myself to be. And that's all done in the here and now. That's powerful. I really want to get to this idea. So this idea that of memory, remember, you are all that is. I am is all that is. Before Abraham, I am. Before all memory, all images, you are that multidimensional, you are that awareness within which all memories, all images, all identities take place. And then you have all possibilities, all identities, all images. You're that multidimensional being, right? Superimposed version of all possible identities. You at the center of it. That all that isness, all identities. You have that experience of being all that identities, that multidimensional being, right? The Son of God, the Son of Man, of all possible realities. Your imaginal scene is a memory now. As you imagine yourself as you would like to be, you create that memory that already exists, that identity that's already within you. You're remembering yourself in the world as you would like it to be, not as it appears to be. Therefore, you create that horizontal or linear experience in time and space, so you can know yourself as that multidimensional all that isness, all identities. And as you decide to create a new memory of wish fulfilled, as you feel the conviction and the gratitude and love of that memory of who you are, you create that horizontal linear experience. You change the past, present, and future. That horizontal past where you weren't wealthy, where you were living on couches, where you were struggling to make ends meet, where you never had enough money, that no longer belongs to who you are now. It's still part of all that you are, but it no longer belongs to this identity, right? This identity has a new horizontal linear past. It doesn't mean you exclude that part of you that was sleeping on couches, that was struggling. You've just become more aware of all that you are. Every time you imagine yourself in your ideal, every time you imagine your reality as you would like it to be, you become more aware of all that you are. That's powerful. And you create that horizontal linear experience that's always changing. Yes, it appears solid. There's the solid. That past appears solid and unchangeable. That present appears solid and consistent. The future appears solid and to never come. Right? The future where it always seems out of reach. But you're creating it all right now in the now moment. That's how I created insane wealth without lifting a finger.
How did he do it? He created the memory. Not just a imaginal scene of what he believed is going to happen or unfold in the future. He decided that that imaginal scene of that identity, of him living that wealthy life, is a memory right now of who he is. And when he creates that memory, you create that gratitude and conviction for that life that you are now, for that identity, that image, that memory of who you are now. Then it must be and unfold as your physical 3D linear experience. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, and for being part of our membership channel. We have another live stream that we're going to plan exclusively on the membership channel. Our next live event will be announced shortly. If you're a member, join us. If you're not a member, join us. It will be I think our 10th event of the year, because we had 2 in August. So this is going to be powerful, and join us though, guys. If we're going to be answering your questions that you're sending to us at info@besomethingwonderful.com, and also answering your questions live on the chat in the live event, in the live stream. This is exclusively on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. If you're a member, join us. If you're not a member, just check out the link below. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Until next time, we'll see you soon.